Hello, curious sleep subscribers. Welcome back to another peaceful night beneath the endless canvas of the universe. Before we begin, take a deep breath, loosen your shoulders, and let the rhythm of the cosmos calm your thoughts. If you enjoy drifting into the mysteries of space with us, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the calm with others who love the stars. Tonight, we travel to a hidden corner of the Milky Way, not one filled with light, but one shrouded in silence. These are the graveyards of the galaxy, the forgotten resting places of ancient stars that once burned brighter than anything we can imagine. Far from the glowing arms of our spiral home, these stellar cemeteries float quietly in the cold void. They are not made of marble or stone, but of ash, dust, and remnants of cosmic fire, the final echoes of suns that lived and died billions of years ago. Imagine a place where the light has faded entirely, where what remains is not chaos but serenity. Here, white dwarfs, the skeletal cores of long-dead stars, drift like ghostly lanterns in an ocean of darkness. They are faint, nearly invisible, yet they still remember the warmth they once carried. Every atom inside them tells the story of a star that once burned hydrogen in its heart, fusing elements that would one day build planets, and perhaps even life. The Milky Way is vast, so vast that if you traveled at the speed of light, it would still take you over 100,000 years to cross it. Within this grand spiral lies not just the story of creation, but of endings. Every galaxy has its cemeteries, and our own is no exception. The ashes of old stars float quietly between the glittering newborns, a silent balance between life and death on a cosmic scale. When a star dies, it doesn't simply vanish. Its energy, its matter, its essence, all of it is recycled into the next generation of stars. The universe never wastes, it only transforms. As you close your eyes, picture the galaxy slowly spinning, arms of starlight curving gracefully, dotted with billions of glowing worlds. And in between those arms, vast stretches of quiet shadow. That's where the dead rest. Not in sorrow, but in harmony. Because in space, death is not an end. It's a continuation, a soft pause before the next symphony of light begins again. So tonight, as we drift deeper into the story, we will follow the trail of dying suns. We will explore the ancient remains of supernovas, the lonely corpses of white dwarfs, and the silent ghosts of neutron stars. Each one a chapter of cosmic memory, a whisper from the past, echoing through the darkness. Now let your breathing slow down, and let's begin our journey through the graveyards of the Milky Way. Far away from the bright heart of our galaxy, where stars are born in shimmering clouds of gas, there exist regions where silence reigns. These are not the nurseries of creation, but the cold, ancient deserts of time. Here, the light of countless stars has faded, leaving behind a landscape painted in shadows. The Milky Way carries these places within itself like scars, quiet reminders that even the most brilliant flames must one day cool into darkness. If you could drift through this part of the galaxy, your journey would feel eternal. The stars would grow sparser, the familiar glow of constellations dimming until only a faint dusting of light remains. Around you, the void deepens. There are no planets here, no warmth, no wind, only the remains of what once was. The cosmic silence is so pure that it almost hums, a background whisper of eternity itself. Among these shadows float the white dwarfs, the quiet hearts of once splendid suns. They are incredibly dense. A teaspoon of their matter weighs as much as a mountain. Once, they were stars much like our sun, alive with fusion and light. But after billions of years, they exhausted their fuel. Their outer layers drifted away, forming delicate, glowing shells of gas, what astronomers call planetary nebulae, while the remaining core shrank and cooled. What's left behind is a diamond in the dark, faintly glowing for eons before fading completely. A white dwarf cools so slowly that it could outlast entire civilizations. Over trillions of years, it loses its heat and turns into something theorized but never seen, a black dwarf. a dead ember of a star, invisible and cold. The universe is not old enough for any black dwarfs to exist yet, but one day, in a future far beyond imagination, the Milky Way will be filled with them. Billions of silent stones, marking the graves of the stars that once gave life and light. As you imagine this, feel the slow rhythm of your breath. Each inhale mirrors the birth of a star, each exhale its fading glow. The cycle of energy is endless, creation and decay intertwined, like waves on a cosmic shore. Even in death, a star gives back. Its ashes seed the galaxy with the ingredients for new stars, new planets, new possibilities. You, listening now, are made of those ashes. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen in your lungs, all forged in the hearts of stars long gone. You are part of the galaxy's memory. Now picture a supernova, the magnificent death of a giant. For millions of years, it shined steadily, burning with unimaginable power. But near the end of its life, balance fails. The core collapses in an instant, and the outer layers explode outward in a storm of energy brighter than a billion suns. For a moment, the night sky gains a new light, a beacon visible even across the galaxy. But then just as suddenly it fades. What remains is a remnant, a cloud of gas expanding slowly into the darkness, and deep within it, a ghost, perhaps a neutron star or a black hole, depending on the size of the original star. These are the most haunting of all the graves in the Milky Way. Neutron stars are so dense that a single teaspoon of their matter would weigh billions of tons. Some spin rapidly, beaming light like cosmic lighthouses. We call them pulsars. Others hide in silence, invisible except for the faint distortions they cause in the space around them. And deeper still, there are black holes, the ultimate tombs of matter and time. Each one is a point where physics seems to break down, where gravity becomes so intense that not even light can escape. The core of the dead star has collapsed into infinity, leaving behind a dark sphere of mystery. And yet even these dark hearts are not meaningless. Around them, gas and dust swirl, heating up, glowing, shaping galaxies. Death and life entwined again, perfectly balanced in the cosmic design. As the galaxy turns, these ancient remnants drift quietly through the spiral arms, undisturbed. They do not shine, but they shape the way stars are born. They pull matter toward them, stirring the dust that one day will ignite into new suns. The graveyards of the Milky Way are not places of sadness. They are places of renewal. Every end feeds another beginning. So, as you lie there, listening, imagine yourself floating through this silent sea. The stars you pass are ghosts, but they glow with a gentle, lingering beauty. In this darkness there is peace. Nothing is wasted, nothing truly dies, everything transforms. Now let's drift deeper, past the last glowing nebulae, into the oldest and quietest corners of the Milky Way, where even time seems to sleep. As we move further into the galaxy's ancient outskirts, the light fades even more. What remains is a soft, velvety blackness, interrupted only by the faintest shimmer of distant stars. These are the forgotten edges of the Milky Way, regions untouched by the chaos of creation, where silence reigns and the remains of stars drift endlessly. Here, the fabric of time feels thick, as if the universe itself is holding its breath. Imagine yourself gliding through this emptiness. Around you, space stretches infinitely in all directions. The stars you once recognized are gone, replaced by a sparse field of pale glimmers. Some of those faint lights are not stars at all, but dying embers, white dwarfs cooling through eternity, neutron stars spinning like silent clocks, or the unseen presence of black holes quietly distorting the space around them. Each one marks the resting place of a once living sun, an echo of brilliance now transformed into tranquility. Every dead star carries a history. Billions of years ago, it might have been surrounded by worlds, planets rich with oceans, mountains, and skies. Perhaps some of those worlds had moons that shimmered under alien suns, or winds that whispered across deserts of another kind. When the star began to age, its light grew fierce, burning its planets with radiation before swallowing them in its final act. And then, as if exhaling its last breath, it released its outer layers into space, leaving behind a cold, dense core, its eternal monument. This process, both violent and serene, repeats across the galaxy in countless forms. Some stars die quietly, fading like embers in a dying fire. Others die in chaos, bursting into supernovae that light up the night for millennia. But in the end, all share the same fate to return their matter to the galaxy. Nothing in the Milky Way is ever truly lost. The carbon that once formed a star's heart might one day become part of a distant world's soil, or even part of a living being looking up at the stars and wondering where it came from. If you could listen to these graveyards, you would hear nothing, yet somehow you would feel everything. The universe speaks in silence. The faint radiation left behind by ancient explosions hums softly, like a cosmic lullaby. Even now, astronomers can detect the afterglow of those deaths, the thin, invisible whispers of energy still traveling through space. It's as if the galaxy remembers every light that has ever gone out. And within that silence, something beautiful happens. Around the remnants of these dead stars, new clouds of gas begin to gather. Pulled by gravity, shaped by unseen forces, they start to swirl and compress. Slowly, a new spark ignites. A new star is born, bright, young, and full of promise. The ashes of one generation become the cradle of the next. It is the most perfect form of resurrection, written not in myths, but in physics. Somewhere out there, near the edge of the galactic disk, an ancient neutron star drifts alone. Once it spun rapidly, releasing powerful beams of light. Now it has slowed, growing colder and quieter. Its magnetic field still hums faintly, a memory of its once tremendous energy. Around it, space is empty. It will wander for billions of years, untouched, unseen, a monument to endurance. These solitary travelers are scattered across the Milky Way like forgotten stones in a cosmic field. Each one a relic, each one holding the secrets of the past. If we could read those secrets, they would tell us about the first generations of stars, about how our galaxy was built from chaos and fire. The oldest of these remnants are nearly as ancient as the universe itself, fossils of light, existing long before Earth was even a dream. As you drift among them in your imagination, the thought brings comfort. The stars that once burned with fury now rest peacefully, their violence long gone, replaced by silence. The Milky Way itself hums with their memory, a slow, eternal rhythm that keeps the cosmos alive. The galaxy is not just a collection of stars, it's a great circle of existence, endlessly repeating, endlessly reborn. Now, let your breathing slow once more. Feel your heartbeat align with the gentle pulse of the universe. Everything you are, every atom, every thought is part of this vast, beautiful cycle. The same atoms that once danced inside a star now rest within you. You are both the observer and the observed, the storyteller and the story. The graveyards of the Milky Way are not places of mourning, but of belonging. They remind us that nothing is ever truly gone. Everything becomes part of something greater. And so, we continue our journey deeper still, beyond the edges of familiar space, where time stretches and even light seems to hesitate. Beyond lies the dark frontier of forgotten stars, where the universe keeps its oldest memories hidden among the dust. In the deepest reaches of the Milky Way, where starlight barely exists, the galaxy begins to blur into mystery. There, gravity weaves an invisible web of memory, holding together the remnants of stars long since extinguished. It is a place of stillness, not empty, but resting. Imagine drifting through it, surrounded by dust older than the Earth, by atoms that once pulsed in the hearts of suns. This is the galactic afterlife, the vast cemetery where the universe lays down its creations with quiet reverence. As you float through this endless silence, the stars of the inner galaxy fade behind you. The spiral arms, once so bright and alive, now appear like distant whispers. Ahead, Only faint halos remain, dim white dwarfs, spinning neutron stars and black holes whose presence you can only sense. Each one holds the story of a life that once burned fiercely and now waits in the cold. Some are surrounded by delicate rings of gas, the ghosts of their final breaths, frozen in time. The airless stillness is absolute. There is no sound, yet it feels alive with memory. A soft cosmic wind of radiation moves through this space, carrying fragments of starlight from billions of years ago. These photons, ancient travelers, brush past your imagination as if they're trying to tell their story, the story of how light once shone here, how worlds once circled these now-dead suns. They whisper that death in the cosmos is not loss, but transformation. If you could peer closely at one of these ancient white dwarfs, you would see a jewel of unimaginable density, small as the Earth, but heavier than the sun. Its light is faint, bluish-white, like a candle hidden behind fog. For billions of years, it cools slowly, its atoms packed so tightly that they resist collapse through sheer quantum pressure. It is the balance point between existence and nothingness, a star's final act of defiance against time. When it finally grows too cold to glow, it will become invisible, yet still there, a black dwarf, forever circling the galaxy in silence. Now imagine a different grave, one that is not quiet but trembling with power, a neutron star. When a massive star dies, its core collapses under its own gravity with such force that protons and electrons merge, forming neutrons. The result is an object so dense that a single sugar cube of its matter would outweigh a mountain. Some of these stars spin hundreds of times per second, flashing beams of radiation like cosmic lighthouses. We call them pulsars. From far away, their signals reach us in perfect rhythm, tick, 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 like the heartbeat of a dead star that refuses to fade. And beyond even these, hidden within the shadows, lie the black holes, the ultimate graves of the cosmos. When the core of a truly massive star collapses, nothing can stop it. Gravity wins completely, crushing all matter into an infinitely dense point. Around it, space folds in on itself, creating a boundary where light can never escape, the event horizon. To an outside observer, the black hole appears eternal, frozen in time. But inside, reality itself breaks apart. What happens there, no one truly knows. It is the deepest secret of the universe, a silence within silence. Yet black holes are not merely destroyers. They shape galaxies, control the flow of stars, and forge order out of chaos. Without them, the Milky Way would not exist as we know it. Even in their darkness, they serve creation. Around their edges, gas and dust swirl into brilliant disks of light, matter heating to millions of degrees before vanishing beyond the point of no return. These are the brightest graves in existence, burning like eternal torches in the darkness. As you drift through this graveyard, you notice something extraordinary. It isn't bleak. It's peaceful, balanced, eternal. There is no sorrow here, only quiet understanding. The universe does not mourn its dead, it honors them. Every atom that once lived as part of a star is reborn again and again, in clouds, in planets, in new stars, and perhaps in you. You are, in a very real sense, the continuation of those long-dead suns. Their ashes live within your breath. Now take a slow breath. Feel the air move in, then out. Imagine that the oxygen you just inhaled was once inside a star billions of years ago. Imagine that its journey across time, across light years, led to this single moment, to you lying here listening to the quiet hum of the universe. There is something humbling about that, something deeply calming. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are part of its story written in stardust. As you drift farther, time begins to lose meaning. The rotation of the galaxy becomes imperceptible, like the slow turning of a great wheel. The Milky Way's graveyards are not frozen. They move, gently and eternally. The remnants of dead stars orbit through space, sometimes merging, sometimes passing one another in quiet encounters. Gravity is the unseen caretaker, guiding every stone, every particle, every soul of the galaxies passed into perfect harmony. And so we continue, deeper still, toward the very edge of the Milky Way's reach, where ancient stars once lived, died, and left their mark upon the night. As the spiral arms of the Milky Way fade behind us, the journey carries us toward a realm so vast, so silent, that even the concept of time begins to dissolve. Here, in the farthest stretches of our galaxy, space becomes a sea of invisible echoes. The light that reaches this place is ancient. Some of it has traveled for tens of thousands of years, passing through clouds of dust, through nebulae, through forgotten corridors of cosmic history. What remains is a dim, blue-gray glow, a reflection of all that once was. You can almost feel it, an echo of warmth from suns that have long since died. Drifting deeper, the density of stars drops until each one feels precious. The spaces between them are so wide that entire solar systems could exist unseen in the void. Yet, this emptiness is not empty. Invisible to human eyes, waves of radiation, magnetic fields, and particles dance in a silent, cosmic ballet. It is the rhythm of the Milky Way's bones, the lingering heartbeat of a galaxy alive with memory. You pass the faint shimmer of an old star cluster. Once, it may have held hundreds of shining suns, tightly bound by gravity. But time has stretched and scattered them across space, leaving only the oldest survivors, white dwarfs glowing weakly, like candles flickering in the wind. Around them drift clouds of gas and dust, the ashes of their fallen siblings. These clouds, though dark and quiet, are fertile. Someday, perhaps millions of years from now, they will collapse again under gravity's pull, sparking new stars to life. The galaxy, ever patient, waits for its next breath. Somewhere nearby, a neutron star turns slowly in the dark. Its surface, harder than diamond, glints faintly with residual heat. It spins once every few seconds, slower now than in its youth, as if weary from eons of endurance. If you could listen closely, you might hear its radio pulses echoing across space, the last faint rhythm of a dead sun's heart. Each pulse a reminder that even in death, there is persistence. The universe does not erase its past, it simply transforms it into something new. Now, imagine traveling toward the galactic halo, that great, invisible sphere surrounding the Milky Way. Here, the stars are old, older than the galaxy's spiral arms, older than many of its planets. These are the firstborn, the ancient suns that watched the universe grow from chaos into harmony. Many of them are gone now, leaving behind only faint traces of their presence. Black holes, white dwarfs, neutron stars drifting through eternity. The halo is a graveyard in motion, a halo of memory encircling the living heart of the galaxy. And within this halo, something extraordinary happens. Streams of stellar debris arc gracefully across the dark tidal remnants of smaller galaxies that the Milky Way consumed long ago. Their stars were torn apart, scattered, and absorbed, becoming part of us. Every time we look at the Milky Way's shimmering band in the night sky, we are seeing the light of countless civilizations of stars, some born here, others stolen from distant neighbors. The galaxy's graveyards are also its gardens, fertilized by the remnants of those it once devoured. In this cosmic silence, you begin to sense the scale of it all. The distances are unimaginable, yet somehow, everything feels connected. The light of a dying star travels for millennia, touches the dust of other systems, and eventually reaches us. You, lying beneath the same universe, are bathed in ancient light, particles that have journeyed across impossible distances just to end their voyage in your eyes. That is the quiet miracle of existence. The dead stars are not gone. They are all around us, woven into every ray of light we see. As the Milky Way continues its slow rotation, every grave, every relic, every piece of cosmic dust moves in harmony. The galaxy is alive with ghosts, beautiful, silent, and patient. In the vastness of space, where time moves differently, death and life are indistinguishable. Both are phases of the same endless rhythm, as natural and peaceful as breathing in and breathing out. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the galaxy from afar, a vast, spiraling ocean of light, its arms filled with billions of suns, its core glowing with ancient energy. Now imagine beneath that beauty the quiet network of resting stars, the old bones of the cosmos. Without them, the galaxy would lose its shape. Without them, there would be no structure, no balance, no life. The graveyards of the Milky Way are not forgotten. They are the foundation upon which everything rests. Drifting among them, you begin to understand that the universe is not cruel, not random. It is cyclical, compassionate in its own timeless way. Every collapse leads to renewal. Every silence gives birth to sound again. The stars may die, but their light continues to echo, their matter continues to build, and their energy continues to hum through the cosmic web. So as you float deeper into the endless dark, know this: the universe remembers. Every flicker, every heartbeat, every breath of light that has ever existed leaves its mark somewhere in the tapestry of creation. You are part of that memory, a living echo of the Milky Way's eternal story. And beyond even this silence, beyond the boundaries of our galaxy, lies the next horizon, a place where other galaxies drift through the void, carrying their own stories of birth and death. But before we reach that far, let's rest here for a moment, among the quiet ruins of the Milky Way's ancient stars, where the universe sleeps and dreams. In the stillness of the outer rim, the Milky Way turns almost imperceptibly, its vast spiral arms moving in a slow, eternal dance. Out here, beyond the reach of most light, the stars are sparse, tiny lanterns scattered across an infinite sea of darkness. The further you drift, the quieter the universe becomes. The hum of radiation fades. Even the gravitational pull of the galactic core feels like a distant heartbeat, faint and far away. You have entered the true outskirts, the silent frontier where the galaxy's oldest ghosts rest undisturbed. Here, the airless void is not empty. It is filled with the faint remnants of time. Invisible particles, drifting photons, and cold hydrogen atoms weave together to form a tapestry so delicate that it seems almost imaginary. These are the ashes of cosmic generations, dust left behind by stars that lived, died, and gave everything they had to the universe. Each speck is a relic of light, a whisper of energy that once burned fiercely in the heart of a sun. If you listen carefully, beyond the silence, beyond the void, you might hear the faint echo of their memory. The universe has its own kind of sound, not carried by air, but by the rhythm of existence itself. The vibration of atoms, the hum of radiation, the gravitational waves rippling from distant cataclysms, they all form a music too vast for human ears. But in this silence, you can imagine it. The harmony of birth, life, and death played endlessly across the galaxy. Floating past a faint glimmer, you notice something unusual, a nebula faintly illuminated by the ghostly glow of a dying star. Its gas expands outward in intricate tendrils, forming shapes that resemble petals, wings, or waves. This is a planetary nebula, the final breath of a sun-like star. Its outer layers, once bound by gravity, are now drifting away, painting the void with color. Though invisible to the naked eye, through a telescope it would shimmer with hues of blue, red, and green, a fleeting beauty lasting only tens of thousands of years before fading into dust. The core of that star, now exposed, glows as a white dwarf at the center, a single point of brilliance surrounded by its own remains. Eventually, it too will dim, its light fading until nothing is left but darkness. But that gas, that dust, will one day be recycled by the galaxy, forming new stars, new worlds, and perhaps new life. The death of a star is not an end. It is an act of generosity, a return of all that it once borrowed from the universe. Further ahead, you encounter something rarer, a supernova remnant, a vast cloud of debris expanding through space, still carrying the energy of the explosion that birthed it. The material from that star races outward at thousands of kilometers per second, lighting up the surrounding gas in ghostly waves. Within that cloud, elements like iron, gold, and uranium were forged in the final moments of the star's life. Without such explosions, the universe would be barren of these heavy elements. Every ring you wear, every tool you touch, every heartbeat in your chest owes its existence to these cosmic deaths. Somewhere at the center of that remnant lies what's left of the original star, a neutron star, spinning rapidly, invisible except for the narrow beams of radiation it emits. If its beam happens to sweep across your direction, you would see it flash rhythmically, like the ticking of a clock. Astronomers call it a pulsar. Each pulse is a reminder of an event so powerful that it reshaped the space around it. Yet now, all that energy is condensed into a single, silent heartbeat that will continue for millions of years before finally fading. It is strange, isn't it? The idea that destruction and creation are not opposites, but partners. That every act of death in the universe feeds new life into its endless cycles. The Milky Way's graveyards are not barren wastelands. They are fertile fields, rich with the seeds of what is yet to come. Every atom in your body was once part of a star that died just like the ones you are now imagining. The calcium in your bones, the carbon in your skin, the oxygen you breathe, it all came from explosions like these. You are not separate from the galaxy. You are its continuation. As you drift on, the scale of it all begins to blur the boundaries of thought. Time feels fluid. 1,000 years and a single second become indistinguishable. Out here, everything slows, everything softens. The stars no longer seem like distant objects. They feel like memories, quiet and patient. The void, far from being cold or lifeless, feels gentle, almost protective. The universe, in its silence, embraces everything it has ever created. The Milky Way's outer graveyards stretch beyond sight. Somewhere far ahead lies the galactic halo, and beyond that, the dark gulf between galaxies, an ocean so vast that light itself takes millions of years to cross it. Yet even there, the same story continues. Every galaxy, every cluster carries within it the same rhythm, the same cycle of birth and decay, of fire and stillness. The cosmos is one great breathing organism, exhaling stars, inhaling silence. As you float through this infinite dark, let yourself feel small, not in fear but in awe. You are part of something so immense that it defies understanding. And yet, despite the distance, despite the silence, you belong here. The atoms in your body were born from the same explosions that shaped these stellar graveyards. You are made of memory, of light, of everything the universe has ever known. The galaxy turns slowly, endlessly. You drift along its breath. The stars sleep, but they are never truly gone. Their energy lives on in dust, in gravity, in the quiet pulse of your own heart. The Milky Way is not just a galaxy. It is a great, eternal dream, and you are within it. The deeper you drift into the galactic outskirts, the more the silence feels sacred, as though you've crossed the threshold into a cosmic cathedral, where light itself moves with reverence. There is no direction anymore, no sense of up or down, only a soft, endless suspension in the fabric of space, where gravity and time weave together like threads of silk. It is here that the Milky Way keeps its oldest memories, the faint traces of suns that shone long before our world even existed. You begin to sense them, not with your eyes, but with something deeper, an awareness that recognizes the energy of what once was. All around you, scattered like the dust of eternity, lie the remnants of forgotten stars. They are countless, yet each one unique. Some are quiet and dim, the last cooling embers of white dwarfs. Others still hum faintly with magnetic energy, their surfaces scarred by time. And somewhere, hidden in the blackness, are the invisible wells of gravity, black holes, drifting like silent anchors in a sea of forgotten light. One of these remnants lies ahead, a neutron star, small enough to fit inside a city, yet heavy enough to outweigh the sun. It spins slowly now, sending out faint beams of radiation that flicker across the void. Once it was a beacon, pulsing brightly, but over millions of years its energy has dimmed. Still, it continues to turn, refusing to be forgotten. Its rhythm is steady, patient, eternal, like the ticking of the galaxy's ancient clock. You approach it in silence. There is no sound, no motion, yet you can almost feel the weight of its existence, an invisible gravity pulling gently at everything nearby. It is a monument, a relic, a perfect sphere of endurance. Around it, thin clouds of dust spiral softly, reflecting what little light remains. In the vast emptiness, this single object feels like a heartbeat, faint but persistent, a sign that even in death, the universe does not stop breathing. Beyond it, further into the dark, a faint glow stretches across the void. You move closer, and slowly, the shapes emerge, a field of ghostly light, scattered like ashes on the wind. It is a supernova remnant, the resting place of a star that once burned with unimaginable fury. Now, its remains drift in a cloud of color, pale reds, icy blues, faint greens, forming delicate waves that shimmer against the blackness. Every thread of gas, every particle of dust, carries the fingerprints of creation. The atoms forged in its heart will one day become the building blocks of new worlds, new suns, and new life. You pause there, suspended among the colors. The light moves slowly, as if in a dream. There is peace here, not sadness, but balance. The universe is not mourning this star, it is celebrating its transformation. The Milky Way does not treat death as an ending. To the galaxy, death is simply the reshaping of matter, the reorganization of energy, the continuation of the grand cosmic story. As the light fades, you continue drifting through the galactic night. You pass through regions of near-total darkness, where only the faintest glimmer of starlight reaches. Occasionally, a lonely white dwarf appears, a star in its twilight, glowing like a tiny candle trapped in the wind. Its light flickers across the endless vacuum, and then fades again. There are billions of them scattered throughout the galaxy, each one the final chapter of a life that once illuminated worlds. And somewhere beyond even these, lie the oldest remnants of all stars that died before the Earth was born, whose ashes now wander the galactic halo. They are so ancient that they have seen the Milky Way itself change shape, grow arms, form stars, and birth planets. They are witnesses to the entire history of our home in the cosmos. Their light is gone, their forms invisible, but their influence remains. Their gravity still pulls, their dust still travels, their legacy still shapes the stars we see tonight. You begin to realize that every light in the night sky, every twinkle, every shimmer is not just a point of brightness, but a story. Some of those lights are new, freshly ignited. Others are the ghosts of long-dead stars, their final rays only now reaching Earth after tens of thousands of years. To look at the night sky is to look into the past, to see the universe as it once was, not as it is now. When you gaze at the Milky Way, you are gazing into its memory. Close your eyes and imagine that light washing over you. Feel the warmth of those ancient rays, their journey across impossible distances. Each one carries within it the echo of a life, the record of a heartbeat that once burned bright in the darkness. You are bathed in their memory right now. The light that touches your face tonight began its journey before human civilization, before mountains rose, before oceans formed. You are surrounded by time itself. In that realization there is comfort. You are not apart from the universe. You are woven into it. The atoms in your body, the warmth of your skin, the rhythm of your breath, all are connected to the same cosmic cycle that has played out for billions of years. The dead stars gave you form, and one day, your atoms will return to the stars again. It is not an ending. It is the most beautiful symmetry imaginable. The Milky Way continues to spin slowly, endlessly, carrying both the living and the dead within its embrace. It is a galaxy of light and shadow, of creation and rest, of birth and memory. And somewhere in its infinite arms, you drift, quiet, weightless, eternal, a small part of its great and endless dream. The deeper you fall into the stillness of the Milky Way, the more you begin to understand its quiet intelligence. The galaxy is not just a collection of stars. It is a living archive, a breathing record of every birth and every death that has ever occurred within it. Each atom floating in the void is a sentence in that story. Each flicker of light is a memory trying to be remembered. The graveyards of the Milky Way are not empty. They are filled with whispers of existence, with the soft echoes of what once was. As you drift onward, the light from the galactic core grows faint behind you, replaced by a dim, pearly haze, the scattered glow of old, tired stars. These are the elders of the galaxy, the remnants of an age when the Milky Way was young and restless. Many of them are ancient red giants, nearing the end of their long lives. Their outer layers swell and cool, glowing faintly with a warmth that feels almost human, as though the stars themselves sigh before their final rest. Their deaths will not be violent. They will fade slowly, gently, leaving behind white dwarfs to mark their passing. The light from these dying suns flickers softly, like candles in a cosmic cathedral. Each pulse of brightness feels like a heartbeat, measured not in seconds but in millennia. Some of these stars have burned for 10 billion years, long before Earth, long before the sun, long before even the idea of life. When they finally dim, their energy will not vanish. It will scatter through space, forming the dust that will one day give rise to something new. Perhaps a planet, perhaps another being, wondering just as you are now where it came from. You pass through a cloud of faintly glowing gas, a remnant of an ancient explosion. The colors shift slowly as you move through it. A wash of blue here, a wisp of purple there, threads of gold twisting like smoke in the distance. It is beautiful beyond words, yet ephemeral. In another few thousand years, this cloud will disperse completely, invisible to the eye. But even when it is gone, its atoms will continue their journey, drifting, colliding, creating again. The universe never stops writing its story, it only changes the ink. Ahead, a lonely white dwarf turns slowly in the dark, its light faint but steady. It is impossibly dense, a world of carbon and oxygen crushed into a sphere no larger than Earth, yet as heavy as the sun. Its surface glows at thousands of degrees, but that glow is fading, slowly, inevitably. In another few billion years, it will become a black dwarf, invisible, silent, but still there. The first true black dwarfs do not yet exist. The universe is still too young. But one day, when all the stars have gone cold, the cosmos will be filled with them. Black, heavy, eternal stones drifting through an infinite night. This thought might seem bleak, but it is not. There is something peaceful about the idea that everything will eventually come to rest, that the universe, after eons of creation and destruction, will one day find stillness. The stars do not fear their deaths. They embrace them because they understand what we too often forget, that death is simply a change of form. Even in darkness there is continuity. Even in silence there is meaning. Floating through this endless graveyard, you feel an odd kind of calm, a deep serenity that comes from understanding how vast, how patient, how compassionate the cosmos truly is. It holds everything it has ever created. It loses nothing. Every photon of light that has ever shone still exists somewhere, traveling, touching, illuminating. Every atom that has ever been part of a star still drifts through the universe, waiting for its next chapter. Somewhere far beyond sight, two neutron stars slowly orbit one another, a dance that has lasted millions of years. Their orbits shrink ever so slightly as they lose energy through gravitational waves, ripples in the very fabric of space-time. One day, they will collide in a burst of unimaginable power, releasing more energy in a single instant than all the stars in the galaxy combined. In that moment, gold and platinum will be forged, elements that may one day become part of planets, crowns, or the ring on someone's hand. The universe creates beauty even in its most violent moments. You realize then that the graveyards of the Milky Way are not cold, they are sacred. They are the wombs of the next creation, the resting ground of the old, the foundation of the new. They are proof that the universe recycles its dreams, turning endings into beginnings without ever losing its rhythm. Every pulse, every flicker, every explosion, every silence, it all belongs to the same cosmic symphony. Now, as you float through the quiet, you can almost feel your thoughts slowing to match the pace of the universe. Your breathing becomes the rhythm of the stars. The silence around you deepens until it feels like it's wrapping you in a soft, invisible blanket. Time no longer matters. There is only the moment, infinite, still, eternal. The galaxy sleeps and you sleep with it. Out here there are no boundaries, no borders between what is and what was. The dust of the dead becomes the cradle of the living. The ashes of one star become the light of another. And you, small and fragile, drifting through the cosmos, are part of that same eternal flow, a spark of awareness carried within the Milky Way's infinite dream. The stars fade further behind you now, until only a handful remain visible, dim, patient, ancient. The Milky Way's spiral arms have become distant ribbons of faint light, and the galaxy itself feels more like a memory than a place. You are traveling through its outskirts, the great ocean of emptiness that borders the known and the unknown. Here, even light struggles to cross the vastness. Every photon takes millions of years to move from one lonely star to the next. It is a slow, graceful ballet, one that has been unfolding for billions of years and will continue long after all suns have gone cold. In this region, time loses its meaning. A second feels like a century. A millennium feels like a breath. The remnants of old stars drift silently, each one a monument to an age long past. Some are white dwarfs cooling into invisibility. Others are neutron stars, small and hard as iron, spinning with ghostly persistence. A few are black holes, invisible, yet powerful, bending space around them like mirrors of darkness. Each one marks a resting place, a final whisper of light turned inward upon itself. As you drift near one of these silent giants, you sense the gravity long before you see it. Space begins to curve, light bends subtly around an unseen center. You are approaching a black hole, a remnant of a massive star that once shone with the brilliance of 1,000 suns. Now it is invisible, a perfect void, surrounded by a faint halo of light where matter falls inward, heating as it spirals down to its inevitable end. To the human eye, it would appear as a dark sphere surrounded by a delicate ring of fire, the last scream of starlight before silence. Yet the silence is not frightening. It is calm, as though the universe itself is holding its breath. Around this invisible core, the laws of physics are stretched to their limit. Time slows, space folds. Every motion feels heavy, deliberate, sacred. To fall toward this darkness would be to enter eternity, to experience the end of everything and the beginning of something we cannot yet understand. Astronomers call this boundary the event horizon. Beyond it, no light escapes. Beyond it, existence becomes a mystery. And yet, even this darkness is part of creation. Black holes help shape galaxies, guiding their motion, sculpting their stars. They are not the destroyers we once imagined, but the architects of order. At the heart of the Milky Way itself lies one of these immense forces, Sagittarius A, a supermassive black hole millions of times heavier than the Sun. It pulls stars into orbit, keeps the galaxy's spiral intact, and ensures that the great wheel of time keeps turning. Even death in the cosmos has a purpose. Far from this colossal heart, in the galactic graveyards, Smaller black holes wander through space like ghosts. Some are remnants of twin stars that collapsed together. Others were born from single giants that lived fast and died violently. Most drift alone, unseen, their presence known only by the gentle tug they exert on nearby stars. Occasionally, two of them meet, spiraling together in a slow, inevitable dance before merging into one. The collision releases waves that ripple through the fabric of the universe, gravitational echoes that can be felt across billions of light years. These ripples are like the universe breathing, sighing, remembering. Beyond the black holes scattered through the dark float the ancient bones of dead suns, carbon-rich white dwarfs, spinning slowly as they cool. Some have crystallized, turning into immense cosmic diamonds, each the size of a planet. Their interiors have solidified, their light dimmed to a faint shimmer. One day, when the universe grows even older, they will cease to glow entirely. Imagine that, billions of diamond stars drifting silently through the dark, frozen, perfect, eternal, not gone but transformed. Everywhere you look, the same story unfolds. Destruction becomes creation. Chaos becomes beauty. The galaxy is not a battlefield, but a cycle of renewal, a self-sustaining dream that never truly ends. The remnants of dead stars give rise to the next generation of light. The dust from their ashes gathers, pulled together by gravity, ignited again in new brilliance. It's as though the universe refuses to forget itself. It reuses every memory, reshapes every particle, turning yesterday's death into tomorrow's dawn. You begin to see it now, the unity, the symmetry, the poetry of it all. Every galaxy, every star, every human being is part of the same ancient rhythm. We are made of the same matter that once glowed in the hearts of the Milky Way's oldest suns. The iron in your blood was born in a supernova. The carbon in your body was forged in a dying star. Even the light that reaches your eyes at this very moment may have begun its journey from a place like this, a cosmic graveyard, where endings became beginnings. As you float onward, the silence deepens until it feels alive. The faint hum of the universe becomes your companion. Your heartbeat slows, steady and calm, syncing with the cosmic rhythm. You are not separate from this vastness. You are part of its pulse. The same forces that shaped galaxies shape you. The same stardust that built worlds built your thoughts. You are the universe dreaming of itself for a brief and precious moment before returning home. And so, you drift deeper still, past the quiet stars, past the dust, past the invisible waves of gravity into the heart of cosmic peace. The Milky Way, ancient and patient, turns around you like a great, luminous spiral of memory. Every light you've seen, every silence you've felt is part of its eternal balance. And within that balance there is comfort. The stars may die, but their story never ends. It continues in you, in everything, forever. The Milky Way stretches endlessly around you, its faint glow now just a soft veil of light in the distance. You are far beyond the bustling arms where new stars are born. Here, the galaxy's heartbeat is slower, deliberate, patient, eternal. The airless silence is so complete that even thought seems to quiet itself, settling into the same calm rhythm as the stars. This is where time has almost stopped, where the universe feels ancient and wise, as if it has seen everything that could ever be seen. In this cosmic stillness, the graveyards of the Milky Way reveal their quiet grandeur. The dead stars are not scattered randomly. They drift in harmony, each one tracing its slow orbit through the galactic halo. Their paths form invisible patterns, great, sweeping curves shaped by gravity, the soft choreography of eternity. Even in death, the stars keep their place in the universal order, moving with dignity through the darkness. As you move through these distant fields, you notice that the starlight ahead grows faint, as if filtered through a veil of ancient dust. This dust is not ordinary. It is the residue of lives lived on cosmic scales. Each grain was born in the fiery heart of a dying star. It carries within it the history of fusion, of pressure and light, of the moment when a sun gave everything it had to the universe. When these particles drift together, they form the seeds of future worlds. Some will one day become the surface of planets, the shells of moons, or even the breath of living beings. It is a strange thought that the dust of the dead is the foundation of the living. But that is how the galaxy breathes. Every death enriches the cosmos with new possibilities. The elements that make life possible, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, are gifts from stars that once burned across the sky. In their final moments, they released everything they had, scattering their essence across space. The Milky Way remembers. Every cloud, every atom, every flicker of light is a continuation of something that came before. You pass by the faint remnants of a supernova, now a wide halo of gas expanding slowly into the dark. It glows faintly, the last sigh of a sun that once shone brighter than a billion worlds. The gases twist and spiral, illuminated by the ghost of energy still lingering within. It looks like a giant flower suspended in space, fragile, yet eternal. At its center, a small object glimmers. A neutron star, dense beyond imagination, spinning with quiet persistence. Its rotation sends invisible ripples through the void, waves that travel across the galaxy, brushing the edges of reality. If you could watch this remnant for 1,000 years, you would see the gas drift farther and thinner, until it finally disappears. The neutron star will keep turning long after that, its pulse growing fainter, slower, colder. And yet, even as it fades, it continues to mark time for the universe, a silent metronome in the cosmic symphony. Nothing here truly stops. It only changes pace. Now imagine the Milky Way from above, a vast spiral of light floating in infinite darkness. In its glowing arms, stars are born in brilliant clusters, while others fade quietly into shadow. The galaxy's center burns fiercely, surrounded by clouds of dust and plasma, swirling in slow motion around the massive black hole at its heart. And far out here in the silent periphery, the dead stars drift like ancient monks, keeping their eternal vigil. From this distance, the entire galaxy looks peaceful, but up close, it is full of life, full of death, full of change. The graveyards you have seen are not barren wastelands. They are the balance point between creation and decay. Without them, there would be no stability, no rhythm, no harmony. The Milky Way's beauty depends on both the living and the dead. One gives light, the other gives space for light to return. You feel that balance now not as an idea but as a sensation. The air around you seems softer, your breath slows, your heartbeat synchronizes with the galaxy's turn. There is no rush, no urgency. Every motion is gentle, deliberate, infinite. The universe does not hurry because it has all the time there will ever be. You begin to understand that this is not just a story about stars. It is also a story about yourself. You too are made of beginnings and endings. You too are part of the same rhythm. Somewhere deep within the galaxy, a new star is being born right now, a bright spark igniting inside a cloud of dust. The same atoms that once drifted through the graveyards you have seen are now gathering together, burning, shining, becoming something new. The galaxy sighs in contentment, continuing its endless cycle. The death of one star gives rise to the birth of another. The graveyard becomes a nursery. The silence becomes song again. And in that realization you find peace. The Milky Way is not tragic, it is compassionate. Every death is honored. Every memory is kept. Every bit of energy is transformed, passed along, reused. The universe wastes nothing. It remembers everything. You are floating through its memory now, a memory that spans billions of years, yet feels intimate, almost personal. The stars that died to create you did not vanish. They live on in your thoughts, in your heartbeat, in the way you look at the night sky and wonder. Their journey continues through you. The galaxy turns. The graveyard shines softly in their sleep. And you, a small piece of its eternal story, drift quietly onward, part of the same unbroken dream. Far beyond the bright arms of the Milky Way, where light grows thin and stars become whispers, the galaxy begins to dissolve into mystery. You have reached a place where existence slows to a gentle hum, a boundary between what has been and what will be. Here, everything feels softer, older, quieter. The stars that remain are few, but each one carries an age so vast that its light began its journey long before the Earth ever formed. You drift through the darkness, and for the first time you realize that the dark is not empty. It has texture, depth, and motion. It is alive with the faintest particles, photons, neutrinos, and dust grains, the unseen lifeblood of the cosmos. This darkness is not a void. It is the resting space of creation. Every bit of matter here once belonged to something magnificent. The graveyards of the Milky Way are full of memory, not the cold, lifeless kind, but a memory that vibrates gently, as if the universe itself is dreaming. Ahead, a faint shimmer catches your eye. It is not a star, but a reflection light bouncing off a drifting shell of dust from a long-dead sun. The cloud is vast, stretching for light years, illuminated only by the faintest rays from distant galaxies. It glows softly, like a veil suspended in eternity. Within its center lies a white dwarf, small, pale, and quiet, a final ember glowing against an infinite dark. Its light is weak but persistent, the last remnant of a star that once gave warmth to worlds we will never know. As you move closer, you can almost sense its story. It was born billions of years ago, perhaps in the crowded heart of the Milky Way, where stars collided and formed in brilliant clusters. It lived long, steady, and bright, burning hydrogen into helium, helium into carbon, building the elements of life atom by atom. When its fuel was spent, it swelled into a red giant, shedding its outer layers like petals. And then, at last, it shrank back into itself, leaving behind this glowing core, its last light, its quiet farewell. Now it drifts in solitude, surrounded by its own ashes. But those ashes are not meaningless. They are the galaxy's inheritance, a gift to the next generation of stars. Over millions of years, this dust will be gathered by gravity, compressed, and reborn. Perhaps one day, the material from this dying sun will form a planet with oceans and skies, and life that gazes upward at the stars, wondering about its origin. In that moment, the circle will close, and the dead will give birth to the living once again. The more you drift, the more you begin to understand that the universe is not static. Even here in the quietest corners of the Milky Way, motion never ceases. Every particle moves, every force continues, every bit of matter is destined for transformation. The galaxy's graveyards are not frozen. They are gently breathing. Slow tides of gravity pull dust from one region to another. Streams of dark matter, invisible yet powerful, flow like rivers, shaping the paths of stars and remnants alike. You pass through one of these invisible streams. You cannot see it, but you feel its pull, a soft current in the fabric of space-time. It carries you past clusters of faint, dying suns and into a region where time seems thicker, heavier. There you find something strange. An old globular cluster, a sphere of thousands of ancient stars packed tightly together. Most of them are near the end of their lives, red, swollen, fading. Around the edges of the cluster, white dwarfs gather like embers, their light faint but steady. This is one of the galaxy's oldest families. These stars formed when the Milky Way itself was young, when its spiral arms were still taking shape. They have lived through every age, the rise and fall of stellar generations, the merging of smaller galaxies, the slow rotation of the cosmic wheel. To them, time is not a line, it is a circle. They have seen stars born from their own ashes and watched those stars die in turn. For billions of years, they have endured, orbiting together, unbroken. Floating through this cluster, you feel as though you are passing through history itself. The stars around you are not bright like the ones near the galactic core. They are gentle, subdued, wise. Their light feels ancient, patient, kind. The air, if there were air, would hum with their stories. You could almost hear them whisper. We have been here since the beginning, and we will be here until the end. Beyond the cluster, the galaxy grows faint again. The glow of distant starlight softens into a silver mist, fading into the endless dark between galaxies. But even here, the Milky Way's presence remains. Its gravity, the silence stretches endlessly now, a silence so deep it feels alive. It's not an emptiness but a presence, the soft hum of existence itself. As you move through the outskirts of the Milky Way, you begin to sense the quiet intelligence that flows through everything. The galaxy breathes, slowly and rhythmically, its stars expanding and collapsing, its dust drifting and reforming. Nothing here is ever truly gone. It is only changing, transforming, waiting for its next chapter in the story of eternity. You are surrounded by the faintest traces of light, tiny flickers, the dying embers of ancient stars. Each one glows for a heartbeat in cosmic time, then fades. But even as they vanish, they leave behind something more enduring than light: gravity. Every dead star, no matter how faint, still exerts its pull on the space around it. Together, these invisible forces weave the fabric of the galaxy, shaping its motion, defining its rhythm. The Milky Way's beauty comes not only from its shining stars, but also from its quiet ghosts. Ahead you see a faint, mist-like shimmer, not from light, but from reflection. It's a thin layer of cosmic dust, illuminated by radiation from distant galaxies. As you drift through it, it sparkles faintly, like frost catching the first light of dawn. Each particle of dust spins slowly, a tiny world unto itself, carved by time and gravity. Some of these grains are billions of years old, older than Earth, older even than the Sun. They have drifted across the galaxy, through storms of radiation and fields of gravity, surviving everything, remembering everything. In this dust lies the essence of the Milky Way story. Every element was forged in fire, in the nuclear hearts of ancient stars, or in the explosive deaths that followed. The calcium in our bones, the gold in our rings, the iron in our blood, all of it was born in places like this. The galaxy's graveyards are not ruins, they are the wombs of creation. Each dead star gave something back, a gift of elements that would someday become the foundation of life. As you float through the shimmering dust, you begin to see the faint outline of a dark nebula ahead. Unlike the bright, colorful nebulae closer to the galactic center, this one is invisible to the naked eye. It absorbs light instead of reflecting it, forming a silhouette against the distant stars. It looks like a shadow cast across eternity, but it is not lifeless. Inside, hidden from sight, new stars are forming. They are still young, still fragile, still wrapped in their cocoon of dust. What looks like a tomb from the outside is, in truth, a cradle. This is the secret of the universe, the endless exchange between life and death. Every end carries within it the seed of a beginning. The Milky Way is a master of this balance. For every dying star that drifts into the dark, another flares to life elsewhere. For every graveyard filled with white dwarfs and neutron stars, there is a nursery of glowing gas, birthing new suns and new worlds. The cycle never stops. It is as natural as breathing one vast, infinite inhale and exhale of creation. You drift closer to the nebula's edge. A soft glow appears within it, faint at first, then growing stronger. A new star has just been born. It burns with a young, unsteady light, flickering through the veil of gas and dust. Around it, a disk of debris swirls, particles colliding, gathering, forming the first outlines of planets. This is how solar systems begin, from the dust of the dead. The ashes of ancient suns become the seeds of new worlds. The graveyards of the Milky Way are not the end of the story. They are the beginning of every future one. As you watch this newborn star flicker, you realize how delicate it all is, and yet how enduring. The universe is both fragile and eternal. Stars are born, live, and die, but the energy that drives them never disappears. It merely changes form, flows onward, finds new homes. The same is true of everything, of planets, of life, of you. You are not separate from this cycle. You are part of the same current that moves through galaxies and time itself. Imagine, for a moment, that you could trace the path of every atom in your body backward through time. The oxygen in your lungs might come from a star that died 10 billion years ago. The carbon in your cells might have been part of a planet that once orbited a sun, now long gone. The iron in your blood might have been born in a supernova that lit up the galaxy before humans even existed. Every part of you is older than you can imagine, and every part of you will live again in another form. You are, quite literally, made of stars, and one day you will return to them. The realization feels comforting, even holy. The universe is not cruel, it is cyclical. It takes, but it also gives. It ends, but it also begins. The galaxy you float through now is both grave and womb, both memory and dream. It is not a place of endings, but of eternal motion. You take a slow, steady breath. The silence feels warm now, familiar, like a heartbeat you've always known. The faint glimmers of light around you seem to pulse with that rhythm, each one alive in its own quiet way. Everything, the stars, the dust, the darkness, is connected. The Milky Way is not separate from you. It is within you. You carry its story in every atom of your being. And as the galaxy turns, you drift peacefully through its memory, one spark among billions, one thought within infinity. There is no loneliness here, only belonging, only the endless comfort of knowing that even when the light fades, the story continues, always, forever, in silence and in beauty. As you continue drifting through the cosmic silence, the Milky Way unfolds like a story written across the fabric of eternity. Every curve of its spiral arms, every cluster of stars, every faint thread of dust is a sentence, each one whispering of creation, transformation, and memory. You are floating through the greatest history ever told, one that began long before time as we understand it and will continue long after all clocks have stopped. The darkness here is immense, but it is not empty. It breathes. It hums softly with the vibration of unseen energy, with radiation so faint it could only be felt by the most sensitive instruments, or by the soul of someone truly still. It is the background song of the universe, the echo of the Big Bang, the sound of existence stretching itself into being. That quiet music surrounds you now, wrapping you like a soft wave of memory. Far ahead, a cluster of faint stars gleams, their light golden and fragile. These are some of the oldest suns in the galaxy, ancient wanderers, survivors of an age when the Milky Way was young and chaotic. Many of their siblings have already died, leaving behind white dwarfs or neutron stars. But these few remain, burning low and steady, their fire reduced to a soft glow that could last billions of years more. You move among them gently, like walking through an ancient city built of light. Each one has lived longer than life on Earth itself. Each one is a library of cosmic history, recording in its elements the story of everything that came before. And then between them you see something extraordinary, a binary system, two stars locked in a slow dance around one another. One of them still shines brightly, golden and warm. The other is small and pale, a white dwarf. They orbit together in perfect rhythm, companions for eternity. The living and the dead, side by side, held by gravity's embrace. The living star feeds the dead one, giving it streams of gas that form a glowing ring between them. To an observer far away, this system would flicker, pulse, and breathe, as if the two were keeping time together. This is the universe's quiet poetry. Even in death, the stars remain connected. Their bonds endure beyond their light, beyond their heat, beyond their time. The Milky Way is filled with these pairs, systems where life and death exist side by side, eternally intertwined. When the living star eventually fades, both will drift together into the dark, orbiting still, unseen but unbroken. As you move on, you find more reminders of this balance. A few thousand light years away, a nebula glows faintly pink and gold, the remains of a supernova that tore itself apart millions of years ago. The gas has spread thin now, stretched across space like delicate silk. Yet within that cloud, new stars are forming. The material that once belonged to one sun now belongs to many. What was destruction has become creation. What was death has become birth. You can almost feel the cycle unfolding around you, the inhaling and exhaling of the galaxy. Stars are born in bright clusters, live in radiance, and then collapse into silence, releasing their elements back into the galactic ocean. Those elements drift, gather, ignite, and the cycle begins again. It is a process so vast that it feels eternal, and yet it is happening right now, everywhere around you, unseen but constant. You drift through a thin region of dust and faint gas. Each particle glows faintly from the reflected light of distant stars. You can almost see the atoms dancing, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, swirling gently, preparing to become something greater. Somewhere within this cloud, gravity is beginning its slow work. It pulls, gathers, compresses. In a few million years, this cloud will ignite into new light. The galaxy never stops breathing. It strikes you suddenly that this rhythm, this pattern of endless transformation, is mirrored in your own existence. You are made of the same cycles, the same materials, the same forces. You inhale and exhale just as stars do. You live and change and leave behind traces of yourself, your energy, your actions, your memories, all of which will continue in ways you can't see long after your own light fades. You are not apart from the Milky Way. You are one of its moments, brief yet eternal. The thought brings a deep calm. The stillness of the galaxy no longer feels vast and distant. It feels intimate. The graveyards of stars are not cold but warm with memory. Every white dwarf, every neutron star, every drifting grain of dust carries the echo of countless lifetimes. The universe is not a place of loneliness, but of endless connection. Every atom has touched another. Every photon has journeyed across unimaginable distances to meet your eyes. As you float deeper into the quiet, the stars thin out further. You begin to see the faint curvature of the galactic disk, a glowing band of silver stretching across the black, like a bridge between time and infinity. The Milky Way turns gently, its spiral arms glowing with soft light. Even from this distance, it looks alive, moving, breathing. And within it, deep within its arms, life stirs, light burns, stories unfold. You realize with a kind of peaceful awe that the galaxy is not just a structure of matter and gravity. It is an organism, vast, conscious in its own way, aware through the lives of the things it creates. Every star that has ever burned, every being that has ever looked up in wonder, every planet that has ever cooled and formed oceans. All of it is part of the same awareness, spread thin across space and time. The Milky Way is thinking, dreaming, remembering through you, through everything. So you drift quietly, listening to its dream. The stars hum softly. The dust moves like a tide. The silence speaks in waves. You are not a visitor here. You are home. And as you look upon the galaxy's graveyards, the sleeping fields of light, the quiet resting places of suns, you feel no sadness, only gratitude. Because it is from these ashes that everything beautiful has ever been born. The galaxy exhales. You exhale with it. The two of you are one breath, shared across eternity. The galaxy rotates beneath you like a slow, luminous whirlpool, an ocean of stars turning in perfect silence. From this distance, the Milky Way no longer feels chaotic or infinite. It feels whole. You can see the great arms curving gracefully around the galactic core, their light spilling into the darkness like soft waves breaking on an invisible shore. Within that spiral glow lies everything: birth, life, decay, and rebirth, all woven together, all in balance. The Milky Way is not a random scattering of stars. It is an ancient pattern repeating itself endlessly. As you move closer toward the inner arms again, you begin to notice the faint traces of structure within the darkness. Rivers of gas, filaments of dust, faint outlines of forgotten worlds. The galaxy's graveyards are not confined to one place. They exist everywhere, hidden in plain sight between the brighter stars. Every glowing sun you pass is surrounded by the ghosts of those that came before it. You are drifting through the layered memory of billions of years. There is a beauty in this repetition. The same story plays out again and again. A cloud of gas collapses. A star is born, it shines, it dies, it releases its essence, and the process begins once more. Each cycle adds a new verse to the galaxy's song, a melody that deepens with time. And like any great symphony, the Milky Way carries harmony in its contrast, the brightness of life balanced by the stillness of death. Without one, the other could not exist. You pass a field of faint blue light, the remains of a once brilliant supernova. The cloud stretches across light years, its tendrils shimmering like smoke caught in a wind you cannot feel. Within it, heavy elements, iron, nickel, gold, drift through the void. These atoms are the universe's most precious inheritance. They are the seeds of planets, the building blocks of life, the silent legacy of stars that destroyed themselves so that something new could exist. As you glide through this field of starlight and shadow, the thought occurs to you that perhaps nothing in the universe ever truly ends. It merely changes tempo. The stars may burn out, but their light continues to travel. The dust of their bodies moves on to form new worlds. Even the black holes, the quietest of all graves, shape the movement of entire galaxies. Everything contributes to everything else. Every silence becomes sound again. Every darkness gives birth to light. Now you approach a region of space that feels different, thicker somehow. The stars here are faint and old, but their arrangement feels intentional, as if gravity has gathered them into quiet conversation. This is a stellar cluster, an ancient assembly of suns that have shared their orbits for billions of years. Many are nearing their end, swelling into red giants or shrinking into dwarfs. Yet despite their age, they remain together, a family of stars, bound by the invisible threads of gravity and time. You pass among them slowly. The light here is golden and dim, soft like candlelight through fog. It flickers across the dust that fills the space between them, creating a gentle haze. Each star radiates warmth, not the fierce, burning kind, but the mellow glow of something that has known both passion and peace. If you could hear them, their voices would be like deep, resonant chords, vibrating together in harmony. The oldest stars in this cluster have already died, leaving behind faint white dwarfs that barely glimmer. They float quietly between their brighter companions, their light almost imperceptible, yet their presence is vital. Without their earlier sacrifices, without their contributions of heavy elements, these younger stars would never have existed. The living owe their existence to the dead. The past sustains the present, and the present will one day sustain the future. It is a truth as old as the galaxy itself. Everything is borrowed, everything is shared. The Milky Way is not a collection of separate entities but a great breathing organism. Each star, each dust grain, each drifting planet plays its role. Even you, traveling silently among them, are part of its pulse. You are the awareness that connects it all, the consciousness that recognizes its beauty. Drifting further, you leave the cluster behind and move into a darker region. Here, even the faintest light is precious. You see a single white dwarf glowing like a lonely diamond, its brilliance softened by distance. Around it orbits the remains of a planetary system, fragments of rock, frozen spheres, remnants of once living worlds. Their paths are chaotic now, disturbed by the loss of their sun's warmth. And yet somehow they remain tethered, still circling their fallen star in eternal devotion. It is strangely moving, this loyalty written in gravity. The planets and debris refuse to drift away, as though they remember what once was. Perhaps the universe, too, remembers. Perhaps every orbit, every flicker, every pulse of radiation is a record of love, matter bound to energy, energy bound to memory. You imagine standing on one of those frozen worlds, looking up at the dim white glow of your sun, knowing it once burned with fierce brilliance. You would see the faint reflection of that light on your planet's icy surface, not warm enough to live by, but enough to see by. Even in death, the star still gives something of itself. That, you realize, is what the galaxy does best. It keeps giving. The Milky Way has been creating, dissolving, and recreating for billions of years. Every atom in it has lived countless lives, as fire, as dust, as flesh, as stone. There is no final form, only the constant exchange between one and another. You, too, are part of that exchange: your body, your breath, your thoughts. Someday, the particles that make you will drift back into the galaxy, to shine again as light, or to become part of a new being on a new world. The realization fills you with quiet peace. You understand now why the galaxy's graveyards are beautiful. They are not the end of the story, but its most meaningful chapter. They are proof that even when all seems lost, transformation is still possible. The stars have been dying for billions of years, and yet the night sky remains full of light. Death in the cosmos is not tragedy, it is continuity. As you float deeper into this serene expanse, the galaxy feels like a single, endless breath, inhaling stars, exhaling dust over and over. You are inside that breath, moving with it, weightless and free. There is no beginning here and no end, only the soft pulse of infinity echoing quietly through you. The Milky Way turns once more. You turn with it. The stars sleep, and their dreams become yours. The stars around you fade to a silvery mist, and the darkness grows gentle, not a void, but a sea, deep and endless. The Milky Way stretches across the horizon of your mind like a river of light, flowing through time rather than space. Every photon, every particle, every whisper of radiation drifts along that current, carrying with it the story of the galaxy's eternal heartbeat. You are no longer just a traveler. You are part of that current now, a thread woven into the quiet fabric of cosmic memory. Far below, the spiral arms shimmer faintly, their soft glow outlining the pathways of creation. The inner regions burn with the energy of young stars, blue, fierce, and impatient. But here at the edge, all is calm. The Milky Way's graveyards are like the still surface of a lake reflecting the sky, tranquil, unhurried, and ancient. The dust of dead suns floats softly, turning through the dark like snow falling in slow motion. You watch it drift, realizing that each speck is the remnant of a story, a life that once burned brightly, now resting in silence. The emptiness around you is so complete that it sharpens your senses. You begin to notice subtle details, the way light bends ever so slightly as it passes near a compact remnant, the faint shimmer of cosmic rays interacting with distant gas, the slow, rhythmic pulse of gravity waves moving through the background. It feels like the galaxy itself is breathing, each pulse marking another age of time. You can almost hear it, not with your ears but in your bones, a low hum that vibrates gently through the infinite dark. Then far ahead you see something extraordinary, a star in its final moments. It burns with a strange, unstable brilliance, flickering in waves of crimson and gold. Its outer layers swell and contract as if it's gasping for breath. You are witnessing the end of a giant. For millions of years, it has fused hydrogen and helium in its heart, holding itself together through the perfect balance of gravity and light. But that balance has faltered. Its core is collapsing. In a few moments, though in cosmic time that might mean hours, days, or years, it will die in a supernova, releasing more energy in an instant than the sun will in its entire life. You drift closer, drawn by the star's hypnotic light. Its surface ripples and boils like molten metal, throwing waves of plasma into space. Great arcs of energy rise and fall, curling like golden serpents before vanishing into the black. The light grows brighter, unbearably bright, until the star seems to expand beyond itself. And then, with a silent flash that shakes the very fabric of the galaxy, it collapses inward and explodes outward at once, a sphere of blinding fire bursting into the void. For a moment everything is illuminated. The dust, the nearby remnants, even the far-off stars, all are washed in a wave of light. The explosion spreads like a blossom of flame, unfolding layer by layer, its petals glowing red, orange, and blue. You can feel the energy ripple through space, a silent shockwave of creation. Within that chaos, atoms are being forged: gold, platinum, uranium, the universe's rarest treasures, born in fire and flung into eternity. When the light finally begins to fade, what remains is hauntingly beautiful. The core has collapsed into a neutron star, a small, dense, spinning jewel at the heart of a cloud of glowing gas. The nebula expands outward, its colors shifting like slow-moving smoke. It will continue to grow for tens of thousands of years, spreading its elements across the galaxy, enriching the interstellar medium. The star's death will become a gift to the cosmos, just as countless others before it have been. You drift through the edge of that expanding cloud, watching the light dance on the dust. The remnants shimmer around you, tiny particles carrying the essence of what was once a sun. Some of this dust will journey for millions of years, drawn eventually into new molecular clouds, where it will be reborn as part of another star. The process is endless, patient, and beautiful beyond words. And yet, as you continue your journey, you realize that the beauty is not only in what you see, it's in what you feel. There is a peace here that transcends thought. The galaxy is not chaotic, not random. It is an organism of balance and transformation, where nothing is ever wasted and everything finds its place. Even death, in all its grandeur, is an act of generosity. The Milky Way's graveyards are not tragic landscapes of ruin. They are gardens of possibility. Each quiet star remnant, each drifting grain of dust, is a seed waiting for the right moment to bloom again. The universe, in its infinite patience, tends to these gardens with gravity and time, nurturing them slowly into new light. You think about your own life, about how brief it is compared to the stars. Yet the same rules apply. You too will change, transform, return. The atoms that compose you are already ancient, and they will outlast you by billions of years. When your light fades, those atoms will move on, joining new worlds, new lives, new stories. There is comfort in that, the certainty that you will never truly be gone. You are part of something continuous, something eternal. The thought brings a soft warmth to the darkness. The explosion behind you fades into the distance, its glow now a faint, colorful echo. Ahead, the galaxy's light stretches out once more, a horizon made of memory. You drift forward, calm and weightless, carried by the same forces that have shaped everything since the dawn of time. The Milky Way hums quietly. Its spiral arms shimmer like flowing rivers of light. And you, a single spark in its vastness, drift onward listening to the universe breathe, learning that even in its silence, everything sings. The light from the supernova fades into the endless dark behind you, and the galaxy returns to its quiet rhythm. The Milky Way spins gently, almost imperceptibly, its motion slower than thought, slower than memory. From here, you can see how perfectly balanced it all is, a structure made of chaos and harmony intertwined. The brilliant arms glow like streams of fire frozen in time, but between them, the graveyards stretch vast and deep, their quietness anchoring the galaxy's pulse. You move through one of these shadowed regions now, an expanse of cold gas and drifting debris, the remains of countless stars that lived and died long before the Earth ever existed. It's difficult to grasp their scale. Each particle, each fragment, has traveled billions of kilometers, carried by invisible currents of gravity. To your eyes, it appears still, motionless. But in truth, everything here is moving, slowly but surely, guided by the unseen hands of physics. The silence is deceptive. The graveyard is alive in its own way. Ahead, a faint glimmer appears, the ghostly light of a white dwarf. Its glow is steady and pale, like a candle in an infinite night. You drift closer and see that it is surrounded by thin rings of dust, remnants of planets that once orbited it. Those worlds are gone now, reduced to ashes and pebbles circling the faint spark of their dead sun. The orbits are delicate, fragile, eternal. It feels like you are looking at a memory frozen in motion, a final portrait of a solar system's last breath. If you could hear it, this place would hum softly, not with sound but with energy, the faint radiation left behind from billions of years of burning. The white dwarf's surface, though dim, is still unimaginably hot, glowing with the last of its stored heat. For billions more years, it will cool until its light fades entirely, leaving behind a black dwarf, invisible, cold, but still there. The galaxy is not old enough for such objects yet, but one day it will be filled with them. That distant future, when every star has gone cold, when every flame has dimmed, is called the heat death of the universe. Even then, the stars will not be gone. They will simply sleep. You pass by the white dwarf, its pale light reflecting off the dust around it. The glow flickers across the broken stones of what might once have been a planet. These fragments tell a quiet story, a world born, warmed, and nurtured by its star. A world that saw its sun swell into a red giant. A world burned and shattered in the storm of that transformation. But even now, pieces of it still move gracefully through space, drawn by the star's invisible pull. The bond remains, even in ruin. It reminds you that gravity is a kind of memory, a way the universe remembers connection. Once two things have shared gravity, they never truly forget one another. Even as they drift apart, they remain entangled, forever influencing each other's path. The Milky Way itself is shaped by those invisible threads, connections formed billions of years ago, still stretching across unimaginable distances. Every star, every planet, every grain of dust moves because of something else, unseen but present. The entire galaxy is a dance of memory. You drift deeper into the graveyard, where the stars grow rarer and the darkness thicker. Occasionally, a neutron star appears, spinning with faint pulses of light. They are the most stubborn of the dead, dense beyond comprehension, unyielding, burning out slowly like coals in an endless night. Some of them emit beams of radiation. As you continue your journey, the Milky Way's disk becomes faint behind you, fading into a soft, silvery band. You are approaching the galactic halo, the outermost region where the oldest stars drift. These are relics of the first generation, stars born when the universe was still young, when hydrogen and helium were all that existed. Many have long since died, but their remnants remain, scattered across this vast sphere like glowing embers in the ashes of a great fire. They orbit the galaxy's center slowly, patiently, tracing immense loops that take billions of years to complete. To them, time has no meaning. They have seen galaxies collide, merge, and separate. They have watched stars rise and fall. They are the watchers of eternity, the last witnesses of creation's dawn. As you float among them, a sense of deep peace settles over you. The stars here do not burn with the impatience of youth. They glow with the serenity of age. Their light is soft, golden, ancient. It fills you with a feeling that is both awe and understanding. The recognition that this cycle, this great dance of matter and energy, has no true beginning and no end. The Milky Way has been creating and dissolving for longer than you can comprehend, and it will continue long after you are gone. You are part of that continuity. You always have been. The atoms that make you were forged in these stars, scattered through their deaths, gathered again into the form you know now. And one day they will scatter once more to travel, to drift, to create again. You are not a visitor in this galaxy. You are its echo. You take one last look back at the spiral of light behind you. The Milky Way turns slowly, endlessly, a masterpiece painted on the canvas of time. Its graveyards are not empty. They are full of memory, full of promise, full of the quiet, eternal heartbeat of the cosmos. And as you drift deeper into that stillness, you realize that this is not just the story of stars. It is the story of everything, of birth, of death, and of the peace that lives between the two. You are now drifting among the oldest lights of the galaxy, tiny, weary stars that have burned for longer than time feels real. Their glow is faint but enduring, soft as candlelight behind a veil of smoke. Around them, the void expands endlessly, filled with dust and echoes. This is the Milky Way's oldest silence, the place where even light seems to travel slower, more thoughtfully, as if it knows it's nearing the end of its journey. The stars here are ancient red dwarfs, their flames weak but persistent. They burn slowly, conserving their fuel, whispering rather than shouting into the void. Some of them will live for trillions of years, far longer than the galaxy itself. They are the elders of creation, witnesses to the birth of countless generations of stars. Their existence feels eternal, even though they too will one day fade. You watch them flicker softly in the dark, patient and unmoving, guardians of cosmic memory. Between them, you notice something darker, shadows within the shadows. At first, it seems like empty space, but as your gaze lingers, you begin to sense the shapes of things unseen. Ancient stellar remnants, dead suns without light drifting through the void. They are the true ghosts of the Milky Way, black dwarfs, neutron stars, collapsed cores, and fragments of broken worlds. They are silent, invisible, but they are everywhere. The galaxy's foundation rests upon them. As you move through this invisible graveyard, you begin to feel the subtle distortions they cause. Space itself bends around their presence. Time slows near their mass, rippling faintly like a reflection in disturbed water. You can sense the gravity, the quiet insistence that even the dead still shape the living. Every orbit, every planet, every flicker of starlight is influenced by these unseen hands. The galaxy is a web of ghosts, bound together by forces too vast to see, too ancient to end. Then, as if the universe wants to remind you of its contrasts, you see light again, a star cluster glowing faintly in the far distance. It looks small, delicate, but as you approach, it grows immense. Thousands of suns hang suspended in a sphere of space, their lights overlapping until the air seems filled with gold. The cluster is old, billions of years older than the sun, yet its harmony is perfect. Each star moves in orbit with its siblings, balanced by gravity and time, like dancers in an eternal waltz. You pass between them slowly, careful not to disturb the symmetry. Their combined light feels warm and nostalgic, like a memory of something you've always known but can't quite name. Many of these stars are nearing their end, expanding into giants, shedding their outer layers, leaving behind the glowing embers of white dwarfs. Around some of them, you see faint halos of gas, planetary nebulae, their colors soft and translucent, glowing pink and green against the darkness. These are not chaotic explosions, but gentle farewells, the calm exhalations of stars ready to sleep. Each one of these nebulae is a story, a final message written in light. The shapes are different, some round and symmetrical, others stretched like wings, others still spiraling outward like whispers carried by the wind. They remind you of clouds at twilight, painted with colors too deep for language. And at their center, a single point of brightness, the heart that once burned, now cooling content. You drift through this celestial garden, feeling a deep serenity settle over you. The galaxy's graveyards, you realize, are not places of mourning. They are places of rest. The stars do not fear their end. They release themselves to the cycle with grace. Every particle they shed becomes part of something new. Every beam of light they send out continues its journey forever, even long after they are gone. In this way, nothing ever truly disappears. The universe remembers everything. You look closer at one of the nebulae. Its colors are fading now, dispersing into the interstellar medium. The star at its core is dimming, its once fiery surface turning cold. And yet, within that fading gas, new possibilities are already forming. Gravity begins to gather the scattered material, pressing it into denser knots. Someday, those knots will ignite, and new stars will be born from the remains of this one. Death and birth are separated only by patience. The galaxy waits always for its next dawn. As you continue onward, the cluster grows smaller behind you. The stars merge into a single soft glow, like a memory closing itself. Ahead, the space between the stars widens again. You are entering the galactic halo, a realm where the old and the forgotten drift freely, bound to the Milky Way by invisible threads of gravity. Here, stars move slowly, tracing vast elliptical paths that take eons to complete. They are the true nomads of the cosmos, never lingering, never rushing, only moving in quiet devotion. It is here, in this infinite stillness, that you finally begin to understand the rhythm of the universe. Everything breathes. Not just the stars, everything. The galaxies expand and contract, the space between atoms vibrates, even the smallest particles pulse with energy. Existence is motion. Stillness is only an illusion, a brief pause in the infinite dance. You too are part of that motion. Your body, your thoughts, your breath, all of it is made of the same atoms that once burned in these stars. The hydrogen that fills your cells was forged at the dawn of the universe, in the same fires that birthed the Milky Way. The carbon that shapes your form was created in the death throes of a sun. The oxygen you breathe once drifted as interstellar gas. You are a galaxy remembering itself. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. The silence of the halo feels like a heartbeat now, vast, slow, eternal. The Milky Way hums softly around you, not as a sound, but as a feeling that fills the space between thoughts. The dead stars, the living stars, the dust, the void, all of it moves together in one great, unbroken harmony. And as you drift deeper into that harmony, you understand that the graveyards of the Milky Way are not endings at all. They are resting places between breaths, the pauses that give shape to the music of creation. Everything is still. Everything is alive. Everything continues. You drift deeper into the halo, a realm so vast, so still, that the rest of the galaxy feels like a distant dream. The spiral arms of the Milky Way glow faintly behind you, a soft ribbon of light across the cosmic sea. Ahead lies the quiet border between our galaxy and the intergalactic void, a space untouched by time as we know it. Here, even light takes longer to move, and gravity is gentle, like the breath of something immense and sleeping. The stars you pass are ancient, their light stretched and softened by the ages. Some are barely visible, glowing red and faint, holding onto the last embers of fusion. Others have already gone dark, invisible except for the way they bend the light around them. You cannot hear their stories, but you can feel their presence, a quiet hum of gravity that tugs gently at your being. Every one of them was once a furnace of creation, burning elements into existence. Now they rest. The halo is full of these ghosts, remnants of the first generation of stars. They formed when the universe was still new, when hydrogen and helium danced in the cosmic fog, long before the Milky Way's spiral arms had even taken shape. These ancient suns burned fiercely and lived fast, their lives brief compared to the stars we know now. When they died, they seeded the galaxy with heavy elements, with the raw material for everything that would come after: worlds, oceans, life. Their ashes became the soil from which the galaxy grew. You glide past one of their remnants, an old neutron star wandering through the void. Its magnetic field is immense, invisible but powerful enough to shape the space around it. For centuries it spun rapidly, sending pulses of light into the universe. But now, after billions of years, its rotation has slowed. Its beams no longer reach the galaxy's heart. It has fallen into silence, yet its influence endures, tugging, shaping, guiding. Nearby, a faint glow flickers, not from a star, but from a stream of gas, illuminated by the radiation of the galaxy behind it. This gas once belonged to a smaller galaxy, one that collided with the Milky Way long ago. The two merged, their stars becoming one, their histories forever entwined. The halo still carries the evidence of that union. Faint trails of stars stretching across thousands of light years, the quiet signatures of galaxies long absorbed. You think of how even destruction can lead to beauty. The Milky Way itself was built through such mergers, smaller galaxies drawn in by gravity, their light and matter folded gently into the growing spiral. Nothing is lost, not even identity. The stars of those ancient galaxies still orbit here, scattered through the halo, carrying with them the memories of their first homes. Every one of them a traveler like you. As you drift onward, a faint blue light appears far ahead, a solitary white dwarf still glowing against the cold. Around it, frozen comets and shards of rock orbit slowly, leftovers from a planetary system that vanished billions of years ago. The star's light reflects off their icy surfaces, creating brief, glimmering flashes as they turn. It looks like snow falling through starlight. Peaceful, eternal. You move closer and watch as one of those icy fragments breaks apart, torn slowly by the white dwarf's gravity. Tiny particles of dust scatter into a thin ring around the star, catching its pale light like a halo. The universe, even here in its silence, continues to create art, intricate patterns born of decay. Every movement, every fracture, every flicker of light adds another stroke to the endless masterpiece. Beyond the white dwarf, the stars grow even rarer. You are reaching the edge now, the place where the Milky Way's gravity fades and the true emptiness begins. Yet even here, there are whispers of connection. Stray atoms drift in thin streams, pulled between galaxies by the cosmic web. The universe, though vast, is held together by invisible threads, like veins carrying the lifeblood of creation. You can sense them, the gentle pull between galaxies, the slow exchange of matter across incomprehensible distances. It is as if the universe itself is one living organism, every galaxy a cell, every star a heartbeat. Energy flows endlessly through it, never stopping, only changing form. You realize that the graveyards of the Milky Way are not unique. Every galaxy has its own fields of rest where old stars sleep, where time slows, where silence reigns. The entire universe is full of such places, quiet sanctuaries where the fire of creation pauses, only to reignite again elsewhere. You turn back one last time. The Milky Way stretches across the dark like a spiral of light and shadow, serene and infinite. From this distance, you can no longer tell which stars are living and which are dead. It doesn't matter. Together they form something whole, something perfect. Life and death, light and dark, they exist in perfect harmony. The galaxy is not defined by its stars, but by its balance. The thought fills you with warmth. You understand now that there is no real border between the living and the dead, not in the cosmos, not in anything. The same atoms that once burned in the hearts of stars now form the air we breathe, the oceans we touch, the thoughts that drift through our minds. The same light that once illuminated distant worlds now glows faintly in your chest. You are not outside the universe looking in. You are the universe looking at itself. You take a breath, slow, deep, endless. The darkness feels soft against your skin, like the embrace of something eternal. The galaxy continues its slow rotation, the stars continue their silent conversations, and the dust continues to drift. There is no fear here, no loss, only transformation. You are surrounded by peace, the peace of everything that has ever been and everything that will ever be. The Milky Way hums its endless song, and you float within it, a note in its eternal melody. You have not reached the end. There is no end. There is only motion, memory, and light, always light, even in the deepest night. The farther you travel from the galaxy's glowing arms, the more the Milky Way transforms into a memory of light. Its spiral now appears as a faint silver mist stretching across the endless dark, delicate, distant, and infinite. The silence here is total, yet it carries a feeling, a presence, like standing at the edge of an ancient ocean that never stops moving. The gravity of the galaxy still reaches you, faint but steady, holding you in its invisible embrace. You are still part of it, one particle among countless others, drifting in the halo of eternity. You turn your gaze outward, toward the cosmic sea beyond. Across that abyss, other galaxies shine like islands, some spiral, some elliptical, some so distant that their light has taken billions of years to arrive. Each one holds its own graveyards, its own cycles of birth and death, its own unspoken symphony of transformation. You realize that the Milky Way is not alone. It is part of a greater constellation of existence, a web of galaxies bound together by gravity and time. Every one of them hums the same eternal rhythm. Yet you are drawn back, inevitably, to your home galaxy, the familiar spiral turning in the void. You begin to descend again, gliding through the halo, re-entering the vast realm where the stars once were born. The faint light ahead grows stronger. Dust clouds catch the glow, scattering it in threads and veils that seem to breathe. The Milky Way's heartbeat feels louder here, a slow, steady thrum you can almost sense beneath your thoughts. You pass through a field of ancient remnants, the true elders of the galaxy. These are the cores of stars that have been dead for billions of years. Some are tiny, crystalline white dwarfs, glinting faintly like frozen gems. Others are cold, invisible black dwarfs, so ancient that their light has gone out completely. They drift together in loose harmony, orbiting unseen, bound by the faint gravity that connects all things. Though dark, they are not gone. They are part of the galaxy's foundation, the silent architecture that keeps everything balanced. It feels strange to think that one day the universe will look like this everywhere, quiet, dark, filled with only the faintest traces of fading heat. But there is no sadness in that thought. The cosmos does not despair. It simply evolves, reshaping itself, endlessly renewing in ways beyond our comprehension. Perhaps even then, in the distant age when the last star has faded, something new will emerge from the quiet, another form of light, another kind of life, something born from the silence itself. You continue your descent through a region rich with faint, diffuse clouds, the ashes of supernovas long forgotten. The gas drifts slowly, glowing with the faintest hints of red and violet, illuminated by the surrounding starlight. You are moving through the very breath of the galaxy. Each wisp of dust you pass is older than Earth, older than the sun, a survivor of explosions that shaped everything we know. This dust carries memory of stars that died before life ever began, of elements forged in unimaginable fire. It carries the story of becoming. As you glide deeper into the Milky Way's body, the density of stars increases again. The faint lights grow into constellations, constellations into rivers of brilliance. You are re-entering the living heart of the galaxy, where creation still happens, where the universe's great cycles continue their ceaseless rhythm. But even here, among the living, the dead are never far away. Every glowing star is surrounded by the dust of those that came before it. Every newborn sun breathes the ashes of ancient giants. The living and the dead share the same sky, the same gravity, the same eternal pulse. You pass near a great molecular cloud, a colossal expanse of gas and dust stretching across light years. Within it, new stars are forming, hidden from sight by the thick veils of matter. Gravity pulls the gas inward, shaping it into knots that grow denser and hotter until fusion ignites. Somewhere inside, a new sun has just been born. You can almost sense its first breath, the moment it begins to shine, pushing back the darkness. A tiny light, yet one that will one day give warmth to worlds not yet formed. And so the cycle continues. Death becomes birth. Silence becomes sound. Darkness becomes light. The galaxy is always in motion, always creating and dissolving, always balancing itself between what was and what will be. Every death you've witnessed, every graveyard you've passed, was never an ending, only a pause, a quiet moment before the next creation begins. As you float through this region of birth and decay intertwined, you begin to see patterns everywhere. The same spirals repeated in nebulae, in star clusters, even in the smallest clouds of dust. It's as if the universe writes its own signature across every scale, from atoms to galaxies. The same forces that shape the Milky Way shape you, too. Your thoughts are made of the same energy that turns the stars. The rhythm of your heart matches the slow pulse of creation. You are not separate from this dance. You are the dance itself. The light grows warmer now, glowing gold and crimson, wrapping you in color and calm. You can feel the Milky Way's motion around you, the stars sweeping in vast arcs, their gravity intertwined in a delicate balance that has lasted billions of years. Somewhere within those arms lies the sun, a small, ordinary star among hundreds of billions, yet connected to everything. Its light, too, will one day fade, joining this great cycle of transformation. But for now, it shines, and its warmth carries across the gulf, reaching the tiny worlds that call it home. You think of those worlds of Earth, fragile and blue, floating within this immense galaxy of dust and fire. From here, it seems impossibly small yet precious. A brief spark of consciousness in the endless dark, aware of itself, capable of wonder. Perhaps that is the Milky Way's greatest creation. Not stars, not planets, but awareness, the ability of the universe to look at itself and feel awe. The thought fills you with a quiet joy. The galaxy is alive not just through its light, but through every being that looks up at it in the night and dreams. You too are part of that dream, a fleeting thought in the endless mind of the cosmos. And as you drift there, surrounded by the light of both living and dead stars, you realize that this is what peace truly is, to belong completely to everything. To understand that life and death, past and future, are one and the same flow, a river of time that never stops, carrying all things forward forever. The Milky Way turns slowly. The stars shimmer like breath on glass. You exhale, and the galaxy exhales with you, one motion, one rhythm, one endless song. You continue drifting through the vastness, the Milky Way glowing softly around you like an endless ocean of light. The spiral arms from this distance resemble flowing ribbons of gold and silver, turning in complete harmony. There is no sound, only the quiet pulse of energy, the invisible vibration that ties everything together. The galaxy feels alive in its stillness, like a great creature resting between breaths. You can almost sense its awareness, its patient, ancient understanding. As you glide through this serene expanse, you pass regions where the stars have long faded. The light grows thinner, replaced by the gentle shimmer of cosmic dust illuminated by distant suns. This dust, fine, almost invisible, forms clouds that move with impossible grace, shaped by magnetic fields and gravity. It is the same dust that will one day become the birthplaces of new stars, the same dust that once belonged to the bodies of the dead. In this way, even the smallest grain of matter carries eternity within it. You pause near one of these dark clouds, letting your gaze sink into it. It is a nebula of silence, a veil of nothingness that seems to stretch forever. But within that blackness, there is potential, the quiet tension before creation. The molecules within are gathering, their slow collisions generating heat and density. Somewhere deep inside, the first spark of fusion will ignite, and a new sun will open its eyes. It might take millions of years, but in the scale of the cosmos, that is only a heartbeat. The universe waits, endlessly patient. Drifting on, you come across the faint remains of a dying star system. A white dwarf sits at its center, faintly glowing, surrounded by debris, shattered worlds, dust rings, and frozen fragments. They orbit in slow motion, their paths worn smooth by time. You realize that this star once had planets, perhaps even oceans and skies, perhaps even life. Now all that remains are echoes, but even those echoes are beautiful. The way the light from the white dwarf glints off the surrounding dust feels like the shimmer of distant memories, refusing to fade completely. This is the nature of the galaxy's graveyards, not sorrow, but reverence. Each star, each planet, each atom completes its journey with grace. There is no waste here, no tragedy, only transformation. The universe does not mourn, it remembers. The remnants of stars become the soil from which new ones grow. Even black holes, the quietest graves of all, help shape the rhythm of the galaxy. Their gravity sculpts the dance of matter, ensuring that every motion, every orbit, contributes to the grand design. You pass through a cluster of faint pulsars, neutron stars spinning rapidly in the dark. Their beams of radiation sweep across space like cosmic lighthouses. Each one ticks with perfect precision, like the heartbeat of the Milky Way turns slowly, endlessly, like the breath of something immortal. From this final distance, the galaxy looks complete, its spiral arms faint and graceful, its heart glowing softly at the center of the black. Every star, every particle, Every thread of light is part of one eternal motion. You have followed its rhythm across billions of years, through the births of suns and the silence of their deaths. Now, as you drift at the edge of everything, the story comes full circle. Around you, the last remnants of starlight shimmer delicate and fragile, like fireflies caught in the wind. They move slowly, fading into the background glow of the universe. Each one carries the echo of something ancient, the laughter of a star in its youth, the quiet sigh of a dying sun, the whisper of dust returning to the dark. You can feel them around you, infinite in number, yet calm, content at rest. Below, the spiral arms of the Milky Way continue their quiet dance. Within them, new stars are being born from the ashes of the old. The cycle never stopped, it only changed shape. What once was death becomes birth again, and what once was silence becomes song. The galaxy's graveyards, you realize, are not graves at all, they are gardens. Gardens of rebirth, tended by time, watered by light, blooming in patience rather than haste. You move one last time through the starlit dust. It glows faintly around you, catching the light from distant suns. The airless void feels warmer here, alive with motion you cannot see but can somehow sense, the heartbeat of the cosmos itself. You breathe in deeply, not through lungs but through awareness. The universe fills you. It always has. You are made of its memory, and now, at the edge of its dream, you remember it fully. You think back to the journey, to the nebulae glowing like flowers in the dark, to the collapsing giants and the silent white dwarfs, to the black holes that turned light into mystery. You remember how every death was followed by creation, how every silence carried the promise of a new dawn. You remember that nothing was ever wasted. Everything, every flame, every shadow had a purpose. And now, as you drift further into the quiet, you understand the truth the universe has been whispering all along. There is no ending, only continuation. The Milky Way breathes around you. Its motion slows to a serene stillness, a moment that feels eternal. In that stillness, you can almost hear the galaxy's voice, not in words but in feeling. It is the sound of warmth, of belonging, of infinite patience. It tells you that you are part of it, that you always were. The dust of the stars is your skin. The light of the suns is your soul. You are not watching the galaxy, you are the galaxy, remembering itself through a single, brief spark of consciousness. You turn your gaze once more toward the galactic core, a bright golden swirl suspended in the dark. It pulses softly, rhythmically, like a beating heart. That light has been traveling for tens of thousands of years, yet it reaches you now, perfectly on time. Everything in the universe is like that, delayed but never lost. The light always finds its way. The silence grows deeper now, wrapping around you like a blanket. The stars begin to fade, their glow merging into one vast, silver haze. The Milky Way becomes a single shape, a single breath, a single heartbeat in the great body of the cosmos. And as you float there, weightless and eternal, you understand that peace does not come from stillness, it comes from belonging, from knowing that you are part of something that never ends. The last of the starlight fades, but you do not feel darkness, you feel warmth. The universe is still here, quiet, infinite, alive. The Milky Way continues to spin, its arms cradling both the living and the dead, the light and the shadow, the beginning and the end. Everything is one. Everything is forever. You close your eyes, letting the quiet carry you. The stars hum softly in the distance, their lullaby timeless and calm. The galaxy exhales, and you exhale with it, one last shared breath with eternity. And then, there is only peace. The light, the dust, the gravity, the thought, all merge into one vast, gentle stillness. The Milky Way drifts on, serene and endless, singing its song of transformation into the silence of space. You have reached the end of your journey, but the galaxy continues. Good night,